it's easier to prevent illness than cure it. And 80% of most of the things that plague us here in America, heart disease, stroke, obesity, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, etc., 80% of these are preventable or delayable based on lifestyle, meaning how we move our bodies and what we eat. And so I was like, okay, well, that seems like something I can do personally. So for the last 20 years, I've been focused on my own health and wellness journey and making sure I take the steps necessary to be the best version of myself and hopefully delay or prevent any of these chronic and potentially terminal illnesses. And then I realized, why are so many Americans dealing with it? Why are so many of my friends, dealing with it? And I realized that what we consume every day, what we eat, is a direct correlation to the problem. And I learned that, the average American eats fast food 3.2 times a week.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We have for you today a brand new episode of the None of Your Business podcast, and we're super excited for this very special guest. He's been making the rounds on the podcast circuit. He's also, though, making the rounds in social media and on many stages. You're hearing him talk all about the fast-growing phenom called Everbowl, and I'm super excited to dig in. So learn more about Everbowl, what it is, what they're doing, and all of the great lessons that you are going to be able to apply into your business. It's always better when somebody has cut their teeth and learned the lessons for you. And I hope that you always find value here on the None of Your Business podcast in hearing from other people that have shortened the learning curve for you by going out there and doing some trial and error, learning some really cool stuff, while at the same time making a massive impact on the world. You're going to love this episode. Let's bring in Jeff Fenster. He is the founder, the actual original OG Everbowl guy. Jeff, welcome to the None of Your Business podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me. Been excited to come on your show. Huge fan of you and the podcast. And again, really appreciate the opportunity. So thank you for having me today.
So we always start off the podcast with the same question, but I'm thinking like you're probably tired of answering this question. But I think just for some context for the viewers and listeners, let's talk a little bit about your creation story. How do we end up talking here together? What is this whole Everbowl thing?
Sure. Everbowl actually started as a little bit of a passion project. I had sold a few companies in the past and was kind of living a little bit of a semi-retired life into 2015, beginning of 2016. And I jokingly say, I was driving my wife and kids crazy. So they said, go do something you're passionate about, because you being at home with your energy is just too much for us. And so go sink your teeth into something. And so I started Everbowl really as a passion project because outside of my family and outside of the businesses that I started, health and wellness is kind of near and dear to my heart. And I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, which means I'm a little bit afraid of illness, cancer and dying of illnesses. And the internet was dangerous for me because you start to Google symptoms and how do you prevent this and how do you prevent that. And what I've learned is it's easier to prevent illness than cure it. And 80% of most of the things that plague us here in America, heart disease, stroke, obesity, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, etc., 80% of these are preventable or delayable based on lifestyle, meaning how we move our bodies and what we eat. And so I was like, okay, well, that seems like something I can do personally. So for the last 20 years, I've been focused on my own health and wellness journey and making sure I take the steps necessary to be the best version of myself and hopefully delay or prevent any of these chronic and potentially terminal illnesses. And then I realized, why are so many Americans dealing with it? Why are so many of my friends, dealing with it? And I realized that what we consume every day, what we eat, is a direct correlation to the problem. And I learned that, the average American eats fast food 3.2 times a week. And so I said, hey, I can help solve this problem. My passion is health and wellness. I import all these superfoods into my house. I'm always force feeding my family and friends when they come over different fun concoctions from all over the globe that are high in antioxidants and high in this. And I was like, you know what? I'm a serial entrepreneur. I start companies without experience. I know how to do that business side. So why don't I start a restaurant called, at the time, wasn't called Everbowl, but it came up with the name. Why don't I had this idea? Why don't I start a restaurant that serves superfoods and help make affordable, or help make healthy food affordable, filling, delicious, and accessible to the masses? And those four things I just said were the culmination of some research I did into asking people and understanding why we eat bad every day. Like, why are we eating fast food so often? Why are we eating food that we know is not good for us when the information is prevalent, right? It's like smoking. We all know smoking's bad for us. Why do we do it? And it's like, oh, well, we're addicted to smoking. Well, that's what smokers are. Why are we addicted to unhealthy food? And so I came up with four excuses that pretty much culminate everyone's answer. And it either costs too much to eat healthy, it doesn't taste good, it doesn't leave you full and satisfied, or you just can't get it and you're in a hurry, hence fast food. So Everbowl was built to be affordable, filling, delicious, and accessible, and address those four main excuses and make that part of the process. And so I started Everbowl as a passion project, and fast forward 6 years later, we have 60 plus open stores, 350 sold that will be opening. We're in 15 states and hopefully going to be in all 50 states here in the next couple of years.
I have no doubt about that. I'm watching the growth trajectory, and it's absolutely amazing. I'm going to come back to Everbowl. Obviously a massive fan. Of the four things, for me, it doesn't taste good. There are other acai bowl options that exist in the world, and I was exposed to them when I was living in California. They're all over the place, and most of them tasted terrible, like dirt. And when I first experienced Everbowl, I was like, "Well, I'll be dang! This is like healthy ice cream. This is healthy dessert. This is unbelievable." But I'm going to roll it back even further because I'm going to fact check our good friend. I've heard the story many times that Dave Meltzer told me that you approached him when you were super young, and this is so admirable if it's true that you approached him super young and said, "I want mentorship." And he had said to you, like, "Okay, well, I'll do that." It was like on a Sunday morning or something on a park bench, and you had to gather some people to participate. Is that a true story?
Kind of. It's a version of the reality. So Dave and I go back. I've known Dave since I was 4 years old, and he was in high school. Our moms worked together. My mom was a teacher. His mom was the principal, and so we were family friends. And I've known his family and been, he's basically my brother, my older brother. He used to come watch me play little league. When I was in high school, he was entering the workforce. He was graduated law school, and he was already now in corporate America doing business. He was at one point he was the CEO of the first smartphone, which was called PCE phone. And I did approach him in high school, and I did say, "Hey, I'd like to learn from you." I had the foresight to understand that it's not what you know, it's who you know, and I can expedite the what I know with the who I know. So being around someone like Dave and his sphere of influence and being around smart, sophisticated people, I can elevate myself and learn things that I probably wasn't going to get, working just at Domino's as a 16, 17, 18-year-old. So I did go to him for mentorship. He did make me do a whole lot of fun little tasks like aggregating people around park benches. He had this whole host of companies. Dave also had, being an entrepreneur himself, over those years, I helped him or interned with or worked for probably 6 or 7 companies that he was associated with. Back when the internet was first coming to be, I used to go door to door to auto dealerships for his company, and he created a technology and ran a company that had the technology which would make a vehicle drive on the screen. So think about the internet, and if you have a Toyota dealership, originally it was just a static image of a car, and his technology would let the car drive right across the screen. And so that was kind of unique and revolutionary. And so I had a lot of fun working for Dave over the years, having him be my first and most not strongest, but my most involved mentor that I got to learn from. And I used to curse at him and love him and hug him and hate him and all the emotions throughout our journey together, because he was also family. And so yes, Dave has been instrumental in my life over the course of the last, I'm 39 and I've known him since I was 4, so 35 years.
Well, I think that that's a very interesting attribute that a lot of people honestly struggle with, to just one, reach out for help. I think that's admirable. Two, maybe to someone that you look up to. Maybe you thought like, well, yes, family aside, he's got things going on. He's probably not going to want to help me. And then fast forward to today, if somebody could just steal your phone, the contacts in your phone are incredibly, incredibly impressive. Let's give some guidance or advice to people on how you've managed to build such strong relationship capital. How do you get over that? How do you ask for help? And how do you approach these people that maybe you hold in high regard?
I'm so glad we're touching on this topic. So I'm going to do a little plug just because I think it's the most important skill that anyone listening. Relationship capital is everything. I'm not standing here today in front of you, but for my relationship capital and how I've harnessed that asset over the last 35 years. And so on LinkedIn, if you're a LinkedIn premium member, it's free. If you're not, just hit me up and I'll send it to you for free. But I have a course that I did for LinkedIn legitimately on. It's called Relationship Bank Account. And it's the power of relationships. And I have a book coming out on Relationship Bank Account. It's called Relationship Bank Account. And I have a podcast coming out on it. So this is near and dear to my heart. And it is the tool that we use without realizing we use it. And everyone has kind of said, oh, that person got this job because they're so-and-so's brother or they're so-and-so's sister. We all understand nepotism is real. We all understand that who you know is more important than what you know and what doors it can open. And so I fortunately was around smart people when I was young, like Dave and others, and had the ability to realize that because I knew Dave, I was in this room with athletes and rock stars in corporate America and all of these different functions, and my peers were not, right? And I had friends, I went to law school to be a sports agent, and I had friends who were agents, and I realized that everyone wants to be around them. Why can I get access? Because of who I know. And so all of these life events kind of showed me what the power of relationship capital can do for you and me. And so then it was about how do you harness it? And so it's a whole host of different tactics. A lot of people make the mistake of doing what I call making withdrawals, which means they're always asking for something. And we all have that friend or that acquaintance that every time they call, they need a favor. They need a favor. And you say yes, but eventually you get tired of it. You dodge their calls and you stop, right? So the way to build true relationship capital with someone is lead with value. Find ways to make what I call deposits into your relationship bank account with that person or that company, to where you're providing value to them, and earn the right to make a withdrawal or an ask when it's necessary in your life. And just like real money, if you always make withdrawals, you're going to be broke and have no money in your bank account. So the more deposits you can make into your own personal financial bank account and having all access to that capital if and when you need it, that's called wealth. The same thing applies with relationships. So things you can do is find ways to immediately add value. And so one simple trick that works very well is, especially in today's world, is everyone wants to get an introduction to somebody, right? So we have a lot of people who have podcasts today. We have a lot of people who have companies. So very easy, like if it was me and you and I just met you and I know you have this podcast, maybe there's someone I know that would be a great fit for your podcast. And I would ask you very specific questions to get to the point where you define for me what it is you need or what it is that I can help you with. So it could be like simple of, if it's a networking in a business environment, it could be like, okay, hey, we're chatting. Tell me about your business. What are three of the biggest problems that you're facing today in your company or with your podcast? Are you struggling with guests? Are you struggling with getting listeners? What is the problems you're dealing with? And as that person is explaining to you what those challenges are that they're facing, you should be actively listening and saying, okay, how can I help? How can I add value? And the key to that, and I'm going to steal it. It's actually a Dave Meltzer ism, but I'm going to steal it. And so today it'll be a Jeffism, is be more interested than interesting, right? So often we want to talk about ourselves. You should do the opposite. You should legitimately ask 50 questions and ask second and third and fourth level questions and get to know the human you're talking to, get to understand what drives them, what excites them, what hurts them, what pains them, and what they're worried about, and then figure out what you can do to add value. And if you do that, and you do that consistently, you're going to build an immense army of fans of you, and they will feel indebted to you, even though they're not. And you'll have what we will call, good balances and a good relationship capital account with them. And so if and when my show launches and I see a guest on your show, maybe I added value for you and came on your show and introduced you to five, six, seven guests that helped you and helped you in your business. And then I give you a call and say, hey, I just launched my show. You interviewed this person. Would you make an introduction for me? And you say, well, of course, Jeff, because you think of me highly because I've done so much for you without asking. And now you've helped me. And so I've used my relationship capital to elevate my own show in this example, right? And boom, then the question is, well, how did you meet so and so? Well, I met him because I did these other steps. And so that's a quick and dirty example of relationship capital, but it works for employment. If you want a job at a certain company, interning is a great way. I mean, how often do you hear, oh, this person started as an intern in the mailroom? That's them developing the relationship capital at the organization and paying their dues and leading with value. And so it is about leading with value. It is connecting on the personal level and being more interested in them than interesting. And you should leave the conversation with them wanting to know more about you because you didn't give them very much, but you knowing a lot about them.
Okay, well, I'm glad we hit on this topic, and trust me, everybody, we're going to talk about Everbowl. But let's go, because I love to do this because you're Jeff Fenster, right? I mean, you probably don't realize it because it's you, right? So you're like, well, what are you talking about? It's just me. But so many people look up to you. They see you on social media. They see you on stages. Let's talk about the person who's, the recent college grad or the young entrepreneur, and they're like, man, that sounds great, Jeff. But how would I ever even be able to talk to someone like you, right? Like, it's easy for you because you already have all of these relationships. So yeah, you just are adding value to them. But maybe somebody's like, I don't even have the relationship. How would somebody, and I love this question particularly, how would somebody even penetrate into your world, into Jeff Fenster's world? And listen, disclaimer, don't everybody do it, because that's how we get the true answer from him. But how could somebody penetrate into your world where they would even be able to have the opportunity to add value to you?
Well, honestly, it's never been easier. I mean, with social media, we're one click away from access to almost everybody, unless you're one of those few who don't participate in the social community. Um, so whether it's me or it's someone else that you want to get access to, you reach out on social media and you add value. And the easiest way to start doing that is get involved in the conversation. Like if I post something on social media, I'd love engagement, right? I'm doing it not for my own vanity purposes. I'm doing it to give value to the community, ask questions in the chat, under a post or in a LinkedIn chat, or send me an email. I have courses, take them, ask questions, share them, express them, reshare, get involved to the point where you're adding value to the person and asking questions. Because if you don't ask a question, then there's no conversation, right? And the question could be hopefully something that I'm some reason you want to talk to me is I'm assuming it's because I'm providing something that is either going to help you or elevate you or do something to benefit you. So help me understand what that is, because I want to help. I mean, that's the truth about most content providers out there, and people who go on stages. We go on stages. Sure, a lot of us can make money on stages. A lot of us can build our own personal brands while doing that. And there's selfish reasons to want to do those things because it elevates ourselves. But the truth is, and I would say this from most of my friends who speak on stages and on podcasts, we genuinely like helping people, and it fills my cup to understand and hear from people who say, "Hey Jeff, I just want to thank you so much. I got value from blank, way more than some paycheck." I mean, I'm fortunate at the point in life where the paycheck doesn't impact me very much as the value I'm adding to others. So if you wanted to get to the root for me, Jeff Fenster, that's what it is I want to help people and I want to hear about it. I want to be part of that story because that's what fills my cup up. So I would say that, but like if I was trying to reach out and get in front of pick your pick your person, XYZ, and I'm in the same shoes and flip it around and they don't know me, is I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna learn and see what inspires them. What are they working on? If they're a professional athlete and they have a charity, is it a charity that I believe in? If so, can I get involved? Can I make contributions to that? Can I help drive that initiative? Can I bring awareness to something that they want awareness to? And now I'm part of their tribe. And to be part of their tribe gives me access. And from access gives you that opportunity. And once you're part of the tribe, you have access to everyone they know as well.
I absolutely love that. And it's such valuable advice. I remember one of my very first mentors, Michael Port. He wrote the book Yourself Solid. And he now runs Heroic Public Speaking. And so he, trains speakers. And he said this thing, it was kind of a throwaway thing. He was like, when you see a speaker who's coming off of the stage, they usually get rushed by everybody with questions and good job. He said, if you really wanted to get their attention, walk up to them, cut the line, and hand them a bottle of water, and then just walk away. And he says, right then, like the speaker is going to be like, wow, who gave me that guy? And then when it's your turn, they're going to be like, you gave me the water. Thank you. Right. And so it fits exactly what you are talking about. It's just a matter of finding the best way to enter the conversation so that you can begin to provide value and make those deposits, as Jeff is saying. I want to remind everybody too, jump on LinkedIn, find Jeff, and get access to the course. Super exciting. Can't wait to see all of the programming that you're launching. Let's jump to Everbowl. So you start this one restaurant, you're plugging along. How do we go, boom, jump to now it's a franchise and you're literally crushing it? So many people want to get involved. Full disclosure, I'm involved in a group that owns 7 restaurants of Everbowl, and I get people that contact me all the time saying, how do I get involved? What do I do? This is amazing. Are you opening more stores? Um, what is causing this craze? Why is everybody so passionate about this?
Well, there's a lot in that question.
There
I
is. I
think the
apologize.
reason, I think that the reason it's been such exciting opportunity for a lot of people is, number one, timing. Right? There's a luck factor to business and to this business. And 20 years ago, I don't think we would have had the same love from the community and from everybody. But we're on a health and wellness kick in this world today, and people are understanding now that what we eat is so important and the access to that information. In 2016, when I started, it wasn't as prevalent. You couldn't get an acai bowl in most places. I would say even in San Diego, 2 out of 10 people knew what an acai bowl is. Now today, it's probably 9.5 out of 10. So over the last 6 years, we've saw a humongous explosion in this space. And part of the reason I started Everbowl was I couldn't get an acai bowl in San Diego. I used to import them and make them in my house, but I wanted to be able to go somewhere. And there was only a few small little restaurants that I knew about through my travels that actually sold them, and how I got exposed to them. And so I thought that there was a gap in the marketplace for a Chipotle version of an acai bowl concept. And that was the launch and the impetus behind Everbowl. But I think secondarily is we're not just a restaurant, and we're a lifestyle. It's all about the unevolved lifestyle. If it wasn't raining and cold in San Diego today, you would see my unevolved shirt. But unevolved is the word we created and trademarked, and it's our why. It's one thing to have a cool business. It's one thing to sell good products. That's not how you grow and scale a true brand. You have to have something that is your lifeblood, is your North Star. And for us, it's the word unevolved, singular. And it's a word we trademarked, and it means to live actively and eat stuff that's been around forever. And so we promote that lifestyle. Move your body and eat real food, and you're going to be the best version of you. Everbowl's tagline is made from stuff that's been around forever, and we're one component of that. You don't have to eat at Everbowl. You can go to one of our competitors that does it right. I still support you. I think that's great. So we're here to promote health and wellness. We're here to promote the unevolved lifestyle. As a franchisee, getting involved with Everbowl is a little unique because we're vertically integrated, and it's some of the business tactics that I've deployed over my years that I've learned as part of my personal business success formula, which has allowed me to scale, grow, and exit from a handful of companies. So if you have your business hat on, why Everbowl? Well, Everbowl is unique because instead of just being a restaurant, if you go buy a competitor of ours, you pay a franchise fee, you put their name on the wall, and that's it. We actually do everything for you from the day you connect with us all the way through, meaning I have a construction company that builds the store for you for way less than what you can get it built on your own. It's called We Build Stuff. It's one of our pegs in our stool. If you think about a stool, there's 3 legs. One of our 3 legs is We Build. And so we actually build every single Everbowl. We do it in 7 days, which is pretty remarkable. And we do it for about 50 to 60% less than what you can get it done on your own or what it would cost to build a competitor concept. 2, we have unevolved products where we actually import our own superfoods, manufacture our own proprietary flavors and blends and products that we both sell directly to our franchisees to sell to the stores. And we also have a direct-to-consumer side, which we sell on QVC. So we're promoting the Everbowl brand that way. And then the third one is it's a simplified business model, meaning you don't need sophisticated labor. We don't have hoods, ovens, and grease traps. You don't have to know how to cook exotic products. Now she's 17, but when she was 14, she used to work in our stores. My 14-year-old could run an Everbowl during the day, meaning high school and college aged staff are able to run it. So as a business, it's very nice to know you have a simplified business model that's repeatable, scalable, and doesn't require, oh my gosh, I lost, John or Peggy. and now my whole business is stuck and I don't know what to do. It's very easy to find talent. It's very easy to retrain. And we do all of that under the impetus of our two main rules, which is make friends and have fun. So it's a fun, uplifting environment where we help everyone eat good food and be a better version of themselves at a very small price point. So we're not selling, high price tickets of $1,000 plus. It's an $8 to $12 investment to enjoy the meal, which means Everbowl is for everybody, and we're not limiting it just to the super wealthy or someone who is well off. And so for all of those reasons, it's a very fun investment because there's a lot of fun things we can do. And I think that's been part of our ability to scale and scale quickly, and why we've been attracting both franchisees, investors, and customers is because I think that they see and resonate with part of that story, whether it's the simplified business model as an investor or franchisee, or the fun, making friends, having fun, unevolved lifestyle as a customer. There's some piece there that connects it, so Everbowl becomes available for everybody, and they all want to be part of it.
One part that you went over real quick, but that I know that this audience is already thinking, right? And this is the thing that really super impressed me. Let's talk about the ingredients. It's hard to, you said you provide the ingredients. It's hard to do that at scale without going to high fructose corn syrup, red dye number 5, all these things, right? And so anytime you see it, and that's probably why you are importing everything, because I didn't know that about you, like so particular about the ingredients, and it all now fits. But this audience I know is very health conscious and very natural, organic eating. They are very thoughtful about what they're putting into their bodies. And so when you see something that's being done at scale, it usually means that they're shortcutting because they're just trying to make it cheaper and faster. But you are very, very particular about what you are serving and about what the clients are putting into their body. Talk to us about that. What's in all of these bases, and what are we serving up at Everbowl?
Sure. And it's it's funny, even where we are, I feel like in some ways we've had to sell out to that issue. If I'm going to be honest with everybody, where we were with one store is not where we are with 60, but I can assure you where we are with 60 is not where our competitors are. You do have to make some sacrifices to scale. It's just the unfortunate nature of it, because of shelf life and manufacturing and having the ability to make it to where product can move through transit, etc. There are stabilizers in our product today that were never there before. Luckily, they're organic stabilizers, and luckily, they're not red dyed number 60. They are still made from real products, meaning real food, stuff that does have a shelf life and is found in nature and not manufactured in a laboratory. But when we originally started, it was I legitimately cut the fruit and put it in blenders, and we blended it right there. Now we use a manufacturing facility where we manufacture in bulk so we can provide the ready to eat product for our customers. But we do pay attention to the ingredients, and we're always making sure that it is still made from stuff that's been around forever, and it is good for us. And it's something that we would want to eat and I'd want to eat. It's just not as pure as it would be at one store, but it can't be. And I have to explain to everyone, it's like, it's not worse for you. It's just not, it's not 3 ingredients anymore. It's 7, right? And that's the rub that took me a long time to overcome. And, as a leader of an organization, you have to make certain sacrifices, because I had to make a decision. And this is, kind of going into my own, inner demons for a second here, but part of the business decisions that in your own companies you're going to have to tackle with, which is, I can have 1, 2, or 3 stores and stay true to those 3 ingredients or those 4 ingredients, and that's it. Or I can actually achieve what my mission statement was, which was to make healthy eating affordable, filling, delicious, and accessible for everybody. And in order to do that, I had to go from 4 ingredients to 7 ingredients. But luckily, it's not red dyes and it's not fake ingredients that would, potentially cause illness and hurt you. You're still healthy for eating it. It's still great. And it's still meaningful to us. It's just, even where we are, you can probably hear it in my voice. I wish we were still just doing 4. That's just the reality. But it's the same thing with all things. All things that we do, like water in a plastic bottle. I don't want to drink water out of plastic. I don't. I want to drink water straight from a pure water straight from a geyser or a stream. But logistically, I can't, right? So how do I get water? Well, I have to maybe get it in a glass or a plastic bottle. It's one step that I don't want to do. but we have to do it for scale. So there's those elements to it.
But I gotta say, I mean, the fruit is coming. It's not the fruit is fresh, and that's a consideration. You have shelf life, you have breakage, and all of those things having to be considered. I honestly, for me to be involved, I haven't found anybody that is that conscious about the product, the ingredients, and what they're providing to their franchisees. I mean, most people would have long ago gone from 7 to 17, because I'm sure going to 17, you could even cut costs even further, because then we can have these bases and we could probably make them last for 100 years. We could probably make the strawberries and the apples last even longer if we sprinkled some junk on them. And all of that is a no-no because of the consciousness, because of the culture of providing good quality and healthy food to the clients. How do people get more information about Everbowl? So maybe they're like, what is Everbowl? How do they find a store near them? And then on the flip side, what about people that might want to get involved on the business side?
Well, the easy answer is everbowl.com. You can learn about where our store locations are. You can learn about where stores are coming. Everbowl Craft Superfood on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. Plus, all of our stores have local pages, so you can learn and see what we're doing in communities. And then for franchise, everbowl.com/franchise, you can learn all about it, And I can tell you, if you're interested in franchising, first make a decision that you want to franchise and then explore Everbowl, because franchising is different than other kinds of businesses. Franchising is a great way to grow and be part of a tribe and be a team and have the resources. I mean, the beauty of when I started Everbowl, I was never going to franchise. I was against franchising. And the reason I was against franchising initially, not knowing anything about it, was I always thought it meant winners and losers. And I always was unsure of like, why would I want to have a franchise when I could just start Jeff's acai bowls, right? And so I had 28 corporate locations before COVID hit. COVID hit, and we had to temporarily lay off 400 people and shut down 28 stores. I had private equity investors who were pushing me for 2 years to do franchising. Our business was built for franchising, and then COVID kind of forced us to franchise. And once I did, I had the epiphany and the eye-opening moment where I realized, what was I waiting for? Franchising is such a better model, because instead of me having to answer and do everything and figure out business in all these markets and be by myself as an organization, and by myself, I mean me and my team, but just us and whoever we hire and have access to. When you open up franchising, you're bringing in entrepreneurs and business owners to your family from all across the country and potentially the globe. And now you have access to all of their knowledge, all of their capabilities, all of their resources and relationship capital, all of their experience. And they're fighting the same fight, meaning a win for me is a win for them, and a win for them is a win for me. So now we've just built this dream team of incredible people to help drive the brand forward, with all of us all under one mission, which is, it's backwards on the screen, to push that logo and push that brand and push that why, that unevolved lifestyle, into more communities on a daily basis. And I was like, oh my gosh, now I understand why all these brands franchise, from the McDonald's all the way through. And it took me a while. It was like, that was my learning. So I would advise people who are listening to this or considering business, learn about franchising. Go watch the founder about McDonald's and go understand why franchising is so amazing, to be part of that kind of a community. And then all the business that comes outside of that, right? We have franchisee summits, and we got to bring all of our franchisees into a room, and we did learnings there, and we did roundtables, and we did conversations, and we had fun. We had an entertainment night with comedians and dinner, and we got to know each other personally. And you know how many new businesses are going to be spun out of that room from relationships that were forged in that room? And just the ability to spread across the knowledge that comes from geographical locations. Like, how business is done in the South is very different than how business is done in the Northeast and the Northwest and the Texas. And it's just different, right? And so rather than me pay the dummy tax as an operator, as I grow and scale into these markets, I get to partner with people who already know how to do business in these markets and are crushing it. And they get to join me, and together we build this brand, and together we move forward. And I study a lot from public companies. That's one of my secrets in business. And I recommend you do the same in your niche, whatever it is. I'm in restaurants right now, so I can go and listen to McDonald's and Chipotle and Domino's and listen to their quarterly calls with their CEO and CFO and hear what they're thinking about and how they're addressing challenges and problems. And that's one of the business hacks I recommend everyone do. what I learned from McDonald's is incredible. I mean, they're vertically integrated even more than I am, from the real estate to the toys that they manufacture. I mean, they're the largest toy manufacturer in the world, from the Happy Meal, the chicken farms that they have. And so I started stealing some vertical integration concepts from them. I started to learn about all the different models that franchising works with, and it enables and empowers us. And so it also cuts our cost, our buying power. So you have lower costs as an operator when you have a bigger franchise community. And so I say all this because I was wrong, and it took me a handful of years of thinking I knew thinking I knew what I wanted, and that I was right to stay away from it, to realize, oh my gosh, franchising is incredible. And so once we went to franchising, it's been like, now my only regret is I didn't do it sooner. And once you get to that phase, then there's lots of options. And then I highly recommend you check us out and see if you believe in the unevolved lifestyle. I mean, part of the franchising scrutiny that you do, you're going to scrutinize us and we're going to scrutinize you, because once we do franchising together, we're a family. And there's going to be good times, there's going to be bad times, there's going to be black swan events, hopefully not another one for years to come, but the COVID situation. And then there's going to be riding high times where the wind is at our backs and there's smooth seas in front of us. And we want to make sure that we want to go into that together. And so it's a mutual scrutiny and a mutual review. And assuming we both get out the other side, we love to bring great people into the Everbowl community and family and continue to grow.
And there's just absolutely amazing people involved that go beyond Jeff. You have the Everbowl team, you've got Brian, Haley, you got a great team around you. You have great investors that also bring a lot to the table. Look, as a selfish plug, we have our store. So if you're in Chattanooga, Tennessee, our store there is open. Jeff, we typically win all of the seasonal bowl sales contests. Christian, our manager there, absolutely killed that. We're due to open here soon in Little Rock, and then we're coming to Austin, Texas, and as well Nashville, Tennessee. And I think that's one of the things that drew my business partner, Michael Chandler, into the deal, and we're super excited to have him working alongside with us. And when you see that people that are health conscious, that are entrepreneurs, they see a great business model, but they see an opportunity to make an impact in the world. And this is the marriage of those. And as a franchisor in the chiropractic space and a franchisee in the Everbowl space, and now we're opening a new concept as a franchisor as well, everything that Jeff says is absolutely true. I want to wholeheartedly encourage you, because a lot of people dream about it. I know that even my parents were like, oh, maybe we could own a Subway, or people think about, like, I would love to own a franchised entity, a franchised business, because of that, the community and the support. Well, I got to tell you, Everbowl makes it extremely easy for you. So if you're on the fence and you're like, this has kind of been a dream of mine, I want you to reach out to Jeff and his team and explore that opportunity. And if you just like eating healthy desserts that your kids are going to think you are amazing, go and find the nearest store and help yourself to a bowl. Your life will be eternally changed. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here and share with the audience.
Oh, well, thank you. As I said, I mean, obviously I'm a huge fan of you, and as I said, your show, and this is that other hack, right? I mean, this is the thing that when I'm on stage and I get asked, hey, can you give me one or two pieces of advice? It's go listen to podcasts, and go listen to good podcasts where you get the conversation with different operators and different business titans and whatever your niche is. If it's not business, it could be about relationships. It could be about whatever topic you want. But this one-on-one that we're having here hopefully is eye-opening for someone listening, whether they're in their car or they're at their gym, they're sitting at their desk, and they're trying to find ways to break out from whatever rut they're in or whatever challenge is in front of them. I've learned so much from others. Everything I do and everything that all my success has kind of been from the learnings that I've learned while observing other people and trying to not pay that dummy tax. And so I want to thank you again for the opportunity to come on and be part of your show.
Absolutely. Anytime. Jeff Fenster, founder of Everbowl. Make sure you check him out. And if he has impacted your life, we don't always say this, but because you said that earlier, if he's impacted your life on this podcast, reach out to him. I'm sure he'd appreciate hearing from you. I'm sure he'd appreciate knowing what you took out of this and how he's made an impact on you and your business. I don't know how we're going to top this one, Jeff, but we're going to certainly try again next week. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We'll be back again next Wednesday with a brand new edition of the None of Your Business podcast.